I hate you, man. I hate you. I will love you tomorrow, but right now I hate you so much.
A great treat for you today. I have an interview with Arjen Lucassen, the mastermind behind Ayreon, as well as a bunch of other musical projects. An extremely accomplished artist, and as I think it is made clear in my conversation with him, both this time as well as in the previous interview that I did with him, just an overall fascinating and really nice person. Despite his talent and his abilities, he certainly doesn't let that get to his head. On the contrary, he's extremely down to earth, and that just makes it a pleasure to have conversation with him, where he allows me to actually prod on a lot of his life and his way of looking at his interaction with fans and his music and all of that. So I think it's going to be really interesting for you. Please remember that if you want to stay in touch with us, the best way to do that is to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are regrettably no longer on Facebook for reasons that we made clear in a previous video. And so the best way to know what we're doing is to follow us here, as well as to subscribe to our Substack, which you can find on metalblast.net. It's completely free. There are no paywalls or anything like that, but at least it ensures that our readers can have access to the material that we create without us having to depend on tech overlords deciding that we are not saying something that they deem unacceptable. Just a couple of notes about the interview itself. When it comes to pronunciation, we discuss Irene Jansen, who's the sister of Floor Jansen. And you'll notice that sometimes I say Irene and others I say Irene, and that has to do with how her name is pronounced in the Netherlands, where it would be roughly Irene. I'm not Dutch by birth, so cut me some slack on that pronunciation. But if you're trying to say it in the English pronunciation, many people would refer to her as Irene. That is the choice that Arjen, for example, does in his, the way he refers to her. We also talk about burgemeester, to explain it very simply. That is basically a mayor in a Dutch city. It is not exactly the same as in other countries. It is not an elected position, but basically a mayor, the guy in charge of a municipality or gemeente. If you're curious as to why I say gemeente or burgemeester, that has to do with where I learned Dutch. And yeah, it's weird. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you'll enjoy this interview. And until the next time, stay metal. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all of that nonsense to know what we do next. Take care. Before we talk about your new album, the first one that you've done in 13 years, if I'm not mistaken, and, you know, as I was telling you before we started taping, this is the first time that I get to speak with a knight, because back in April you were granted the title of Knight of the Order of the Netherlands, the Netherlands Lion, rather, which is the second highest civilian decoration granted by the Kingdom of the Netherlands, usually to people who have contributed significantly to the arts and to sciences. So, obviously, first of all, congratulations for this recognition. It is really fantastic to see that the country has recognized the enormous contributions that you've made to music and to the arts more broadly. How was it for you? How did this happen? Did you know that it was going to happen?
I knew nothing. To quote Manuel in Faulty Towers, really, I knew nothing. I was just, it was a normal day and I was expecting a package and the doorbell went. And I thought, hey, great, that's the package. And I went to the door and there was this guy in this big chain, this big metal chain. And I thought, that's a weird postman. And all these people behind it. And I looked and I knew these people, they were friends and family. And it was, what is going on? And, I know nothing about these things. I know nothing about knights. I know nothing about Prinsjesdag or King's Day, or I don't even know when it is. So I had no idea. So they all came in and still I didn't know. And then he started his speech and I was like, what am I doing here? And I don't like surprises, It's really not my thing. But then, he started telling me how many fans supported me and wrote letters that I should be a knight and how many friends. And then it gets you, then it's like, oh my God, this is special, not the fact that I'm a knight or whatever, but the fact that all these people really worked hard to get me that decoration.
It's also such a beautiful thing because on the one hand, yes, there is the recognition of friends and fans, but, and I'm not trying to say to be funny by saying this, but it's not exactly a surprise to know that fans and friends like you and support you. I mean, every time you tour the Netherlands, the shows sell out instantly. So you obviously you know that you have this enormous following. But I was wondering whether the fact that now it's not just fans, but the country, the kingdom. We should be a republic, but whatever. Are the ones saying that you've contributed to the nation, that you are actually an asset, not just to heavy metal, but to the people of the Netherlands. Did that feel different? How did it feel for you?
Uh, people call me humble and shit, but um, it feels weird. I can't say, yeah, I earned that. Or I can't say, yeah, I understood it. Because there were actually only 7 decorations of the lion. And the other 6 were like grootmeesters. I don't know what you call them, but scientists and teachers and, people who are way more important for me and who do way more for the country than I do. So, yeah. Again, I'm going to quote now Wayne's World. I'm not worthy. I really, for me, it's just weird. I don't feel any different, and I feel different when will be on stage in September when we play with Ayreon, and there's going to be 15,000 people there. Oh, which is weird for me because I'm a recluse. I don't notice these things. I don't tour. I'm always at home. I never meet people. I don't have a social life. I don't have a family. Nothing. So it's all very surreal. That's the right word. It's very surreal for me.
The second thing that struck me as so beautiful, something that I even mentioned to some friends, is that, I mean, I saw the photos of your knighthood. It felt that it was such a demonstration of Dutch society and culture. The fact that you had the mayor, the burgemeester there, and you're just standing there wearing a t-shirt, your hand over his shoulders, like, yeah, look what I got. To me, that felt like such a quintessentially Dutch move.
True. Yeah, but the guy was cool, man. The mayor, he was one of us. He was a cool guy. And yeah, I listened to Kiss when I grew up, so I know the kind of music. I didn't tell him, well, Kiss is kind of different from my music, but anyway. No, he was a really nice guy. And the funny thing is, I didn't know he was coming, so I was wearing really the clothes with like big holes in it. And I felt terrible, because there I was, the cameras, there were 3 cameras, I think, and all these friends and the mayor, and he was going to put that medal on this torn t-shirt. So for fun, yeah, for fun, I said, well, I especially wore this uh, t-shirt with a big hole in it, but I'll make it bigger. So I crossed it out, and I was standing there, bare, half naked with that t-shirt torn open, and oh my God, it was the combination of feeling awful and feeling honored.
It is such an interesting contrast with, for example, the knighting of people in the UK, which is this
Oh
huge
yeah,
ceremonial
yeah.
thing at Westminster Abbey. And here it was just so chill, so Dutch. And it was so happy to see that it was like that, separate from my thoughts about monarchies in general. It felt like such a nice recognition, not just of your work, but also of how relaxed the society can be.
I know. But of course, they wanted to surprise me. If I would have to go somewhere, I would know, or I would guess, or I would find out, or whatever. So this is the way to surprise me. But just don't ever do it again. And I knew who was behind it. Um, Firstly, I think it's the director of 013, where we play with Ayreon, where we sell out every year. So he was like, let's arrange something for this guy. Let's give him a statue. And Joost, the keyboard player, who's also the production leader, he arranged it all. And I just grabbed him. I said, I hate you, man. I hate you. I will love you tomorrow, when I'm walking here through the village as a with my medal, because I'm allowed to wear it the day after. I'll love you then, but right now I hate you so much.
Of course, I understand that although you appreciated it, you don't particularly care in the sense of it going to, getting to your head. But not that you've received this, and especially when we see reactions to things like the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, when people inevitably start to think about legacy, not death in your case. I'm not trying to suggest that you're, about to kick the bucket or anything, but is that something you think about? Not death, as I said, but instead how you will be remembered, how your work will continue after you're gone.
Rarely, rarely. Again, because I'm such a recluse. I don't see these people. They're invisible for me until I'm in the venue. And really, when I started Ayreon, it was like, let's do an album that I like, and everyone is gonna hate it because it's gonna have all these different styles, gonna have prog and metal and rock and classic and folk and pop and everything. People are gonna hate it. So I never, never, ever expected this to happen. But yeah, then when stuff like this happen, or of course I get my emails every day, my fan mail, and indeed when I get those mails of people like, hey man, I was really down and I was thinking of ending it all, and then I dived into your music and it inspired me and it gave me hope, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's why we do it. That's why we musicians do it. I guess that's why the Stones are still on stage at 80. That feeling is the best there is.
We're all surprised that that is still happening.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in what you mentioned there about fans coming to you and telling you that your music has had such an important impact on their lives. I completely get that you're a recluse and that you try not to think too much about people's reactions, but at the same time, it must be a powerful emotion to know that you've had that effect on someone, that someone's life has been changed by something that you created.
Powerful might not be the word. I like it because it gives purpose to what I do. I think that's the most important thing. Like, I want to get up and create, and I want to create. I want to make people happy. I want people to enjoy my music. I'm not one of those musicians who says like, I make music for myself and I'll bring it out and I don't give a shit what people think of it. I'll do it my way. No, I want to see people happy. Um, so uh, that's the thing that's really important for me. So I don't know if that's a feeling of power.
Just to clarify, I didn't mean that it makes you feel powerful over them. What I meant is that the experience itself must feel powerful in the sense that you realize that you've had such a profound effect on the people who listen to your music. On the topic of creating music, it's been 13 years since your last solo album, Lost in the New Real.
Right.
So what motivated you to return to making music under your own name rather than another project?
I always try to do that with every album because it's luxury. I can do everything on my own. I don't have to invite singers. I don't have to pick singers up from the airport. I don't have to write for other people. There's hardly any logistics. Every day I just step into my studio, and whenever I feel like singing, I start singing. So I start every album like that, but then there are parts I can't sing, and then it's like, oh my god, I need Devin Townsend for this, I need Michael Akerveld for this, I need Floor Jansen for this, and before you know it, I start inviting singers, and it's not a solo album anymore. But having said that, the last years I did a lot of projects for other people, like I did the Simone Simons solo album for a million, uh, which I basically, no, not basically, which I wrote for her. That's what we talked about a lot, about what direction we were going, and we were on the same wavelength. But I wrote it for her. Then there's the Plan 9 album, which was 30-year-old songs that never saw the light of day because we couldn't get a deal. Which the singer, Robert Soetebroek, he asked me, hey, should we record those old songs? And I did it for him, so he could play live, which he is doing now. He's touring with Plan 9. Anyway, I did a few other projects and all for other people. And it was like, I was empty after that. I was totally empty. I had no more inspiration. I call it my black hole period. And I was like, damn, I gotta, I gotta take it easy and do something for myself, and just let the ideas come in and see what happens. So yeah, this is usually when I start an album, I have no idea where I'm going with it or what project it's going to be. But this time it was like, I want to be an egomaniac and do a solo album.
Because you mentioned this issue of not having other singers, but in this case, you are working with, for example, Irene Janssen, who sings one of your songs, and Floor sings in another. So, what's the difference between a solo album in that sense and an Ayreon record, where you also bring other people?
Well, Ayreon is a rock opera. And what is a rock opera? It's an album or a play with lots of characters, and all these characters are portrayed by different singers. Like I grew up with Jesus Christ Superstar, where obviously was a rock opera, and yeah. So if I do a solo album, it's not a rock opera. I would call it a concept album. Um, because I sing 80% of the vocals. And I think if some people, why didn't you release this as an Ayreon? I think people would be disappointed because on some Ayreon albums, I think on the 01, I had 17, no less than 17 singers, and all the biggest names, and they're all interacting with each other. And this time I don't have that. Indeed, I have some guests on vocals because I'm a limited singer. I can't sing powerful or I can't sing high, and some parts in my music need that. So I invited Irene indeed, and she can do anything, She can do the power stuff and she can do the soft stuff, and her accent is amazing and her acting is amazing. So I definitely needed Irene for those epic parts. But I would say I sang 80-90% of this album myself.
I remember the first time that I met Irene. It was at a festival somewhere, and from far away, I thought that's Florianza, but because they look so similar, right? Then someone explained that it was her sister, and yeah, it made perfect sense. Listening to her sing on your album, she has an amazing voice. What are the odds that those parents produce two world-class singers, two virtuosos in one family?
I know, and it was funny because the first time I worked with Flora live was the Star One tour, and her parts were kind of layered on the first Star One album. So we needed one extra female singer. So I was, hey, Floor, and she was 20 at the time. Do you know someone, who can sing those backing vocals with you? And she's, I don't know. And I was joking, like, don't you have like a sister or something? And she said, yeah, I have a sister. And can she sing? Yeah, she can sing. And she was 19 at the time. And they came in and they sang together, and it was like these two Amazon women, these tall, powerful women singing these backing, and they were backing vocals, on my tour, on my Star One tour. So yeah, ever since that moment, I've worked with them, with both of them, because they're equally good, I mean, don't ask me to choose. They're equally good.
Do you have any siblings that are good musicians?
Not at all. No, my brother is terrible. Terrible musician. Yeah, that's why I tease him on every album. In the liner notes, there's always something where I tease my brother. Because he's my bigger brother. He's 3.5 years older than me. So he used to tease me like crazy when I was a kid. And when I started with music and I was unsuccessful, he would tease me with it, But now I tease him back. So every liner notes you will see something of me, something insulting to my brother, as a joke, of course.
Since you mentioned your upbringing and your family, how did your brother take your knighthood?
He was there, actually. He was there and he was proud. Yeah, he loved it. I mean, we're the best of friends now, we still love teasing each other. But no, we call every week, a couple times a week even. We have the same interests, he likes rock music, and he likes television series, that's our favorite subject, talking about, did you see this television series? Oh, no, I'll try it out. And so no, he was a proud brother.
You mentioned how your brother teased you when you were unsuccessful in music. So
Oh, yeah.
let's talk about those early days. Young Arjen, the failed musician. How was that beginning?
I'm gone now. Well, for me, it's a challenge, you know. My brother teasing me, like I had a signing session and there were two people there, you know, and he was there too. And two people. And I'm like, I need that challenge, you know. I need like, you know, one day there'll be 2,000 people there, you know. So I see it all as a challenge. And, you know, when I started making music, I did it for myself. I did it because I was such an amazing music fan ever since I was 10 years old. And I would like, that was my hobby, going to record shops and listening to music. And so, yeah, at some point, I wanted to create the music that I would like to hear myself. You know, I think it's so important to be a music fan and not just to be a talented musician, but to be a huge music fan, I think is even more important than having a lot of talent.
Perhaps connecting with the title of your upcoming solo album, Songs That No One Will Hear, when you were starting out, I guess that these were songs that you thought nobody was ever going to hear.
Totally. Yeah, the whole of Ayreon was a project that I thought no one would hear.
Did you ever think about quitting?
No, no way. No, absolutely not.
So there was no plan B.
There was no plan B. Jumping off a building, you know, that's plan B. No,
We'll have
really.
that retirement plan. Yes.
No, the music chose me really when I was 10 years old already. And then I didn't know I was actually going to make music myself, you know. But I wanted to, but I was too lazy. So I was in a cover band. Not even a cover band. It was just miming. And it was the glam rock days, you know. In 71 was glam rock. It was Alice Cooper, David Bowie, Slade, Sweet. So we actually played at schools. And I was wearing my mother's wig. I don't do that anymore, but and her jewelry and stuff. And I was the singer, of course. And you know, that's what I wanted to do. You know, be the man and be on stage. And then some of the older pupils played me. He said, "Well, you know, all that glam rock is nice, you know, for you kids, but listen to this." And then he gave me Made in Japan. And then I heard Blackmore play, and then it was like, okay, Mom, can I have a guitar, please?
It's interesting that you mentioned doing those early performances in a glam rock style, miming along to playback, because obviously there was this desire to be on stage, but
Yeah.
from what I gathered, that's no longer the motivation. The motivation now is just making music.
I knew the moment I said it that you would circle back to that. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I loved playing live and I loved touring when I was 20, you know, till I was 30, I think. And then I started to find it repetitive and it was not creative, productive at all. And you know, the same songs each day. There was no feeling in it. I felt like an actor on stage, you know. I wanted to be back home and I wanted to be in the studio and make the next album, you know. That's what I wanted. And also it was the 80s, you know. It was a rough time and the band, there was a lot of drugs and alcohol and sex, drugs, and rock and roll, basically. Sex is fine, of course, but I had problems like with drugs and being aggressive, and there was a lot of shit going on, and that didn't help either. You know, that's I think that's at some point I was also like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm not good at it. I'm not a good. I mean, we're going to do these Ayreon shows and I'm going to be the man, you know. But I'm the worst musicians on stage there, really. It's, you know, they're all talents. And my power is to recognize talent. I think that's what I'm really good at. But I'm not a talent myself. I really have to work for it. And I can't go on stage and show off like, hey, I can do this, because I don't think I'm really good at performing, basically.
Did you ever think
Which,
that you were?
yeah, of course. I mean, in the beginning, I was the best, you know. Yeah, at least I thought I was, you know. until the likes of Ingrid Malmsteen came around, and then it was like, wait, I don't think I can do that. And which basically doesn't matter, of course, because you don't have to play like Malmsteen, you know. But at some point, I realized that other people were really way more talented than I was, you know. I think actually, I never told anyone this. I was living in some little village somewhere, you know, and I thought I was the best. And then my neighbor, some guy, a young 15-year young guy, started to play guitar way better than me. And then I thought I'm the best in the world, and my neighbor here in this stupid little village is better than me, you know. Let's find another way.
When you say better, you mean in the sense that they are able to play faster or more complex things?
It was just the timing was better. They can definitely play faster. They have more technique. Um, they did all stuff that I couldn't do, which doesn't mean that they wrote amazing songs or came up with amazing riffs, which for me is way more important, and which I think I am good at. So I'm not being humble, but yeah, in that way.
Something that always fascinates me about music or art in general, even, is that sometimes talent alone isn't enough.
No.
For example, you mentioned Yngwie Malmsteen, and he's a technically brilliant guitarist, and he certainly has been successful, but he hasn't connected with large audiences in a way that, well, less technically gifted musicians have connected. So, is that ever a frustration that as a songwriter, quality alone doesn't guarantee an impact? That it isn't enough?
Quality alone is definitely not enough. And especially these days, you know, you need that little extra. And it's like my new video clip came out now, and I really love that one. I worked on it for a month, you know. And how do you get people to listen to it? It's not doing well. It doesn't have many views, you know. And that annoys me. And it must be even worse for new bands now, you know. How are they going to get that recognition until unless they put on masks, you know, and do something weird that other people haven't done. And it's always been that way, of course. Yeah, I was thinking Ghost and Sleep Token and stuff like that. And it does work. And there's nothing wrong with it, you know. I mean, for me saying that I grew up in the glam rock period, you know, it was all gimmicks. You know, Alice Cooper was all gimmicks, but he had the songs to back it up, you know. And you really need that. And of course, a band like Ghost has that too, you know. I mean, they just have really strong songs.
On the topic of your new album, since I know we gotta move some copies, first of all, the title, Songs That No One Will Hear. Where does that come from?
It's actually a line in the lyrics. Well, the album is about what would people do if they only had 5 months to live. You know, that's as simple as that. Everyone would do something different. And this album is about Sanctuary Island, which is the place where the asteroid will hit the Earth. And actually, a lot of people, they want to be there. And I would want to be there too, you know. I would want to be on Sanctuary Island. I wouldn't want to be in a world that's slowly dying of tsunamis or famine or whatever. You know, I would want to be there on Sanctuary Island, have the meteorite drop on my head. And in the story, I don't know if I would really do that. I'm just sitting there on the beach, like the front cover, sitting there on the beach with my doggy and doing what I do best, which is writing songs. And that asteroid is like behind me. You see the asteroid coming down. Like there's minutes left to live, but I'm still writing songs that no one will hear. So that's where it comes from.
To be honest, I think that's, I don't know, man, that's such a beautiful thing because it's really the mark of a successful life. If you only had 5 more months to live and what you want to do is what you're already doing, well, that's success. And I'm glad to hear that you feel that way, that you're doing exactly what you came here to do.
Exactly, and that's the message of the album. You got the message of the album. You know, it's okay. It's about the end of the world and asteroids. We're all gonna die, but it's actually, you know, if you think like, okay, we got 5 months to live, I'm quickly gonna, you know, contact my brother because I have been having a fight with him, you know, all that time. Do it anyway, you know, whether you have 5 months to live or 5 years or 50 years. And there's a song called "Just Not Today," which is like what you just said. We're all gonna die, just not today. So basically, carpe diem.
Obviously, I also have to ask about the 5 sold out Ayreon shows coming up in September. What can fans expect from them?
Well, it's getting harder, of course, with every Ayreon show. We now did 4 or 5, and you have to come up with something new. And some of the openings of the shows are totally amazing. Like the previous show, we had all the band members come on stage with black coats, and people are and introducing them. And then they turned around and you see the title of the album, which is 01011001. Very simple, but it was so effective. So every year I have to come up with something new. So I think I've got it for this year. We will see. But yeah, it's the 30th anniversary of Ayreon. So what we're going to do is the first half of the show, we're going to play songs we never played before. And I'm actually really looking forward to that because you don't know how people are going to react. Are they like, I never liked that song. Oh, wow, they finally played that song. I love that. I'm looking forward to that first half. And then the second half, we play the songs that we know that people like. If you want the classics, sounds a bit arrogant, but the second half is going to be the classics. And apart from that, we have like amazing a LED screen with amazing visuals on it, and we worked on that for 1.5 years, I think. I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, well, I won't see it because I'm behind the stage, but to see how that will all go down live. So.
And while we're at it, I noticed that
Mhm.
Live Beneath the Waves is being screened in cinemas in the Netherlands. Tell me about how that cinematic presentation of your work came about. Was it your idea?
Well, of course, my music is very visual. There's definitely, it's not just music. There's an extra dimension um, with all the singers and with all the effects on stage. So we're making sure that we film every show, and it's quite a bit of work to really make it perfect. The audio and the editing and stuff like that. And like you said, fans are coming from 65 countries. They're coming from far away. So they don't just come for one day, they want to stay a couple of days. So we want to make sure that uh, people have like a special week. So the whole week, Tilburg is actually turned into Ayreon City, where there is, like you said, there's a cinema, there's Ayreon burgers, there's Ayreon beer, there's Ayreon karaoke. Uh, really, there's flags all over the city, and there's a lot of places where there's stuff to do. Um, and yeah, at some point I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we in the cinema, we would show the whole 01 movie. And as a little extra, Joost and me are gonna dress up like quiz masters with high hat and golden jackets and stuff like that. And we're gonna do a quiz with everyone who's there, like a multiple choice quiz on a big screen, and the winner wins something, So that's a little extra. So yeah, lots of stuff to do there.
I think that this is in this interview it's been clear, but you really fascinate me as an artist because you still engage in so much performative stuff with your fans, even though, as we said, you're not really a fan of socializing.
Well, on my previous album, Lost in a New Reel, I have a song called Social Recluse. And that's actually me. I'm very recluse, but I'm very social. Just not, going places or meeting people. So yeah, this is weird for me that I'm doing this, and I would never do this if we didn't have this production team who arranges everything, because I'm not good at that at all. I come with the ideas, like let's do cinema, let's do this for the show, let's do this on the screen and stuff like that. But I have these people arranging all that stuff for me. But yeah, the week itself is going to be, I shouldn't say this, but it's going to be torture for me, because like I said, I'm insecure on stage. Is everything gonna go well? And I sleep really bad. And will I sleep okay? And but I know I've done it a couple of times now. I know after every show, everything has gone well, and I'm so proud of all the singers because I'm standing besides the stage, so I see them all go on stage, and I'm standing there crying. Uh, it's worth it. It's worth all the aggravation and all the nerves leading up to the shows.
Are you gonna have opportunities to interact with fans more directly, like signing sessions and stuff like that?
Thing is, we did that, and it was really, really tiring. And I'm so busy already there, and it's 2 shows a day, so which is already heavy, of course. And then there's the quiz masters and stuff like that. So, yeah, took too much out of me. And then, of course, it isn't just signing a next one, next one. I wouldn't want that. You want like to talk with people, and you want to go on take a picture with them, and then at one of the last shows, I did it anyway, and the next day I had corona. So so at that point I was like, I can't risk it. I just can't do it. So
Now, before I let you go, since I've already taken so much of your time, and I really appreciate it, I know we both share not only this social reclusiveness, but also a passion for cinema. What have you been watching lately in terms of movies or series?
okay, series. I love TV series. At this point, I'm watching Silo. I saw the first season, but it's always then second season comes out a couple of years later, and I forgot everything from the first season. So I always watch the first season first and then watch the second. So we're right at that now, and it's cool.
I don't know if you like horror, but there are a couple of new films, Weapons and Bring Her Back, are pretty good.
No, I love horror movies as a kid, man. Like The Omen and The Exorcist, and oh my God, I loved it.
I was terrible with horror films as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
I think that I managed to watch a horror film on my own, like 12 or 13 or
Yeah,
something. Before
yeah,
that, just saw the commercials for Pennywise the Clown when they show the
yeah,
It
yeah,
film, and I had
yeah,
nightmares from that.
yeah. But that's why we like horror. I'm sure about it. Because I went to Ben-Hur with my parents. And it wasn't even a horror movie, but at some point the guy, the wagon drives over him and he's covered in blood. And then there were lepers like in my room. And oh my God, I had weeks of nightmares. So it scares you so much that still you want to go. And then I went to the Omen, and then I went to the Exorcist. But I survived it, and you did. It was really a victory. And I think that's why we like horror movies. At least I do.
Arjen, thank you so much for the time that you're giving me today. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. As you can see, I'm a big fan of your work. I look forward to seeing you perform on stage, and I am so happy to know that if you only had 5 months, 5 more months on this planet, you know that you're doing exactly what you came here to do.
I will. I will. I'll be there to look at the asteroid and say, well, bring it on, man. Bring it on.
Thank you so much. Take care, man.
Cool, man. Bye. I'm gone now.